So we're going to learn about digital learning from scratch, like where to start, just from the basics. So the first thing I recommend is that you decide specific office hours for yourself and communicate those very specifically to your students so that they know that you are not on call. You work certain hours, you will give feedback on certain days of the week. If you want to give feedback on their work on Wednesdays and Fridays, then kind of frame out what that looks like for you before you start the initial communication with kids, and be ready to communicate with them. I will not be checking emails or Google Classroom after 3 o'clock in the afternoon on any day. I will not be online on the weekends. Just setting those boundaries so that you are able to keep your own sanity. When we move to a digital classroom, we're looking at what's called asynchronous learning. We're used to teaching in a very synchronous manner where we deliver the content and everyone receives it at the same time. Asynchronous learning is when kids are going to access content in their own time frame. They're going to work at their own pace. They're going to need to ask questions at different times that don't always sync up with our work times. So just being flexible with asynchronous learning. Knowing the law, so one of those laws is COPPA, Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. Basically, if you work with kiddos 7th grade and below, you want to make sure that the programs you're choosing do not require parental approval for children under the age of 13. You also want to be aware of the children's privacy so that you're not sharing their faces and their names and other information about them when you are sharing your screens, when you are taking screenshots or sharing screens on social media. The first thing I would recommend is setting up your Google Classroom. So using Google Classroom, I think everyone should use that as their way to communicate with students so that on the receiving end, students have all teachers in one location. The first thing you're going to do is go to classroom.google.com. You're going to press this plus sign. You're going to then hit create class, create your class, and then this is what your class will look like. You will want to share this class code with your students. So if you do not have a Google Classroom currently, you can email that class code to them. They will all log on. You have the stream, which is where you can do notifications and different reminders or just hellos if you post a video to just a greeting. Classwork, where you can do assignments, resources. I do highly recommend that you use your topics to categorize things under classwork. People, you'll be able to add parents here if that's what you need to do. If that does not work, please contact technology and ask for them to enable parent additions to your Google Classroom. And you won't need to use the grades at this time. So using Google Classroom as our learning management system, you'll have directions. You'll want to carefully label directions and resources and do your best at this point in time to make them general and not specific to our time that we are in with coronavirus. Assignments, make sure the labeling is specific so that you can find it and use it at a similar time next year, and so that your students, it makes sense to them a year from now. Think about how you will give students feedback. Will that be through Google Classroom private messages? Will that be through Google Shared Docs or through a Google form? So think about how you want to do that. I don't recommend using email because that gets workflow-wise to be kind of complicated and kind of overstimulating sometimes to get that many emails from students. I suggest making a Google form that students can ask for help so that you collect all their questions and they have dates and times on them and they're all in one reciprocal on a Google sheet. This is a good time to remind your students about digital citizenship reminders, treating others how you want to be treated, keep your messages and posts positive and truthful, double check messages before you hit send, keep your friends' secrets, so not sharing too much, and avoid the digital drama. So just keeping that out there for kids now that they're on digital learning, and sometimes they forget to code shift from social networking to academic digital learning. Programs worth checking out would be Edpuzzle, Flipgrid, Pear Deck, Nearpod, and Padlet. All of these programs would offer good opportunities for either some type of accountability or some type of self-pacing and some type of collaboration. For reading, I highly recommend Actively Learn. It's a digital reading platform. There's a ton of research behind this platform. It also allows for close reads, and it has questions integrated throughout. It also has a digital dictionary. It has all content areas, so for pretty much any content area, you can find readings for your students. It syncs with Google Classroom. For writing, giving feedback on writing, Kaizena also syncs with Google Classroom. Highly recommend that as well. How does this change reading? So we need to teach kids to read digitally. They need to slow down, organize their text. If you look in Google Docs under add-ons, there is a highlighter tool that students can use that helps them slow down and interact with a Google Doc reading. Help them identify main ideas and details, collaborate and defend what they're saying. So maybe put a few kids on a document at once. Create some type of digital annotation key so they can know what you're looking for digital annotation, and then provide them feedback. Test security, we need to look at assessing students in different ways. At this point in time, they're going to have no way that we are sure of that they can show mastery of a skill individually. There's no way we can be assured that they didn't receive help from a friend or a parent. So how can you assess them? What does that look like for your class? It's not going to be that traditional test. When looking at curriculum, the easiest way to do digital learning is to prevent things for students to consume: videos, readings, notes, and slides. This is the lowest level of learning, is consumption when it comes to digital learning. When we look at creating things, students can create podcasts, infographics, presentations, videos, and websites. Collaborating, shared slides with your class so every kid has a different slide. Doing group writes, you have small groups on Google Docs, or back channeling. Gathering current events for curating, researching, and planning projects. So really focusing on creating, curating, and collaborating when you're thinking of things for students to do from a digital learning perspective. The consumption piece is, again, the easiest and lowest level of learning, has the lowest retention of information. So we need to shift that online curriculum to creating, curating, and collaborating. These are some tools that I highly recommend. Obviously, Google Suite, G Suite will have all your collaboration tools. It's great for collaboration of any kind. Canva or Adobe Spark. Both of those are really good for creating infographics, videos, images, whatever you have them creating. Canva and Adobe Spark are great for that. Posters. Blend Space is a great delivery to organize your work. It creates little tiles in numbered order. You can pop things in and create an entire unit on Blend Space. And Wakelet is a curation tool. Blend Space is also a curation tool, but Wakelet is a curation tool. It's kind of like an academic Pinterest board. So asking kids to collaborate online requires some new rules. So some of those keys to online collaboration are to make your expectations clear, keep groups small when possible for collaboration if they're interacting with different slides or they're all on one document, closely monitor the communication online between students, review digital citizenship, keep activities relevant and specific. Here are some ideas for online collaboration. You could have them make memes for characters in a story or a topic in your history class, gathering evidence from text or research, and then sharing that evidence. You could have them do an online discussion. You could have them create a math problem or solve other people's math problems. Vocabulary, have them add sentences. So you put all the words up and then have students add different sentences to each slide with a vocabulary word. You could respond to images that you post. So these are all different ways that you can collaborate online. Last thing is screencasting, creating videos, not only just to introduce what's going on and be friendly and kind of check in with kids, but also for content. Screencastify allows 5 minutes, Screencast-O-Matic 15. WebEx will do screencasting, and you can do video chats and video meetings, and Zoom is a video meeting platform as well. When you create videos, If you save them to your Google Drive or if you save them to your YouTube channel, you need to check your settings. Make sure that they are not set as private because students will not be able to access them. Make sure that you check in with the frequency of the videos, like how often are you posting them. Collaborative ideas and whiteboard features exist on both platforms for WebEx and Zoom. If you have further questions about digital learning, please reach out. Lindsay Stevenson at smsd.org. Oh,